When life keeps knocking you down, do you break or do you rise with elegance? Today, we're diving into the lives of three very different women: a Disney princess, a 1950s Hollywood icon, and a picture-perfect housewife from Wisteria Lane, to understand how grace isn't something you're born with, but something you choose in the face of adversity by studying what makes these women so admired. Not just for their beauty, but for their strength under pressure, we'll uncover how we, too, can carry ourselves with elegance, even when life is anything but easy. In this lesson, we'll be learning from Tiana from The Princess and the Frog, Bree Van de Kamp from Desperate Housewives, and Grace Kelly, the real-life princess who captivated the world. Let's start with Tiana. If you've seen The Princess and the Frog, you know Tiana is not your typical Disney princess. She doesn't wait for a prince or a fairy godmother. She has a dream, and she works for it. Long hours, double shifts, saving every penny, all to open her own restaurant, just like her father dreamed of. But life keeps testing her. She gets scammed out of her savings. She turns into a frog. She faces rejection after rejection. And still, she doesn't lose her composure. What's remarkable about Tiana isn't just her work ethic. It's that she never lets bitterness take over. She stays poised, grounded, and kind. Grace, in Tiana's world, isn't passive. It's active. It's choosing to keep showing up with dignity, even when life feels deeply unfair. We often think of grace as floating effortlessly through life, but Tiana teaches us that real grace is what you show when you're knee-deep in mud, quite literally in her case, and still keep your head high. Now, let's talk about Bree Van de Kamp. If you've watched Desperate Housewives, you know Brie is the woman who seems perfect. Impeccable home, flawless hair, gourmet meals. But behind all that polish is a woman constantly being tested by her family, her neighbors, and her own desire for control. Her husband leaves her, her children rebel, her life spirals. But the way Brie responds to crisis is what makes her fascinating. She doesn't collapse into chaos. She picks up her pearls, straightens her posture, and does what needs to be done. Now, some might say she's cold or repressed, but look closer. Brie isn't denying her pain. She's just choosing not to let it define her. She embodies a specific kind of grace, one that says, no matter what's falling apart around me, I will not fall apart inside. This doesn't mean she never breaks. She does. And when she does, we see her most human. But her return to composure, her resilience wrapped in red lipstick and polished manners, is what makes her so compelling. From Brie, we learn that grace is not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of it. And finally, Grace Kelly. An Oscar-winning actress turned real-life Princess of Monaco, Grace Kelly was elegance personified, but her life wasn't a fairy tale. Not really. She was scrutinized by the press, pressured by royalty, and gave up her Hollywood career to serve a nation. In her private life, she faced loneliness, infidelity rumors, and the weight of perfection projected onto her. Yet, through all of it, she remained poised, soft-spoken, composed, not because her life was easy, but because she chose dignity over drama. Even when criticized, she never lashed out. Her silence spoke volumes, and her restraint was her strength. What we learn from Grace Kelly is that grace isn't loud. It doesn't beg to be noticed. It's subtle. It's choosing discretion over spectacle, boundaries over breakdowns, and mystery over mess. So what's the takeaway? Grace is not a performance. It's a discipline. Like Tiana, you can work hard for something and still lose it all. Like Brie, you can have a picture-perfect life on the outside while silently enduring storms within. And like Grace Kelly, you can be envied by millions and still carry the burden of pressure few understand. But what all these women teach us is that grace is how you carry yourself when life doesn't go as planned. It's being kind when you could be bitter, composed when you want to scream. It's turning setbacks into steps forward and never letting the chaos outside steal the calm inside. Grace isn't weakness. It's power. Quiet, unwavering power. So the next time life tests you with disappointments, delays, or heartbreak, ask yourself, how would Tiana respond? How would Brie compose herself? How would Grace Kelly walk into the room? Then choose to respond with elegance, strength, and above all, grace. Thank you so much for joining this lesson. Stay resilient, stay grounded, and as always, stay graceful. Bye for now.